Okay, here is Fugo, whose jockey club name is the Fire Within, and this is a 16 one-hand 8-year-old thoroughbred gelding. And Fugo's been here for a little bit now. I want to say I got Fugo here in August, so it's probably been about 6 weeks now that Fugo's been here. And he had all last week off because I was gone in Kentucky at RRP. So when I came back on Sunday. It was raining and cold, and then it proceeded to be raining and freezing cold and windy on Monday and Tuesday. But I just needed to get these guys who were home while I was gone back in work. So Hugo got back to work on Monday. I rode him the last couple of days, and the weather was horrendous. It felt so cold and constant rain, but he was excellent. Actually, I had a really, really good ride on him the day before on Tuesday. I actually thought it was even better than this ride, but I suspect that I made him a little bit tired and sore from doing those two rides on Monday or Tuesday. Not to say that he wasn't good today. He was excellent today, and I'm absolutely thrilled with his progress. I think he looks great. I'm so happy with where he's trending, but I suspect I overdid a little bit after he had, I think, about 10 days off, and then I rode him Monday, Tuesday. Today he just felt probably a little tired and muscle sore in spots. So where I am with Fugo basically is that, well, I've changed a few things around. When I first started him up, when he came, I had him in a metal D-ring snaffle. Now he's back in the Herm Springer Duo, which is, I believe, what his previous owner had him in for years. And he's definitely very comfortable in that bit. He's very soft and light in his mouth. And of course, we want to encourage him to be poking his nose out a little bit. He just makes such a round shape so easily that certainly he has a little bit of a tendency to get a little bit nose behind vertical. So we want for him to feel like he can poke his nose out and reach out to the hand rather than curling behind it. So I really like him in the duo. And I've taken off the little spurs. And then really the main theme here is just that I know Fugo's a hunter horse, and I know he would love to continue to be a hunter horse, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the stuff that the hunters can do in terms of their rhythm and their balance and their jumping. But Fugo's just got to get a little bit more on my seat and my leg. I cannot do the hovering in half seat canter thing. It's just not me. And I think I look terrible doing it. I don't think that I make the horse look particularly good doing it. And of course, that takes a lot more strength than what Fugo's used to. He had all the time off. He's probably never been quite ridden like this before. But that's where he's at. He's getting a lot more on the seat. I'm riding with a lot deeper seat in the canter, especially, but I've also started incorporating some sitting trot into his work. And so, of course, I'm saying these things and I'm thinking, like, yeah, no wonder he felt a little bit tired today. I'm doing all this stuff with him that he's not used to doing. But even tired Fugo looks like $1,000,000. So anyway, he's been incorporating some sitting trot, and in his canter work, I'm just being so much stricter with him about sitting down and back, and on myself about really getting him on my seat and on my legs. And he feels great. I mean, the horse is rising right to the challenge. I mean, Fugo is put together beautifully. He has a great balance, great movement. So, he's going to be a very quick study in anything that I ask him to do under saddle. I also just want to point out, if you notice my hounds there in the background, I only leave my hounds up for video when I really trust that the horse is going to be super chill and able to ignore them, because inevitably the dogs always kind of want to be where we are. So when I first got on Fugo, they were in the hay barn, which is that building at the other corner of the ring. They were in there sniffing around for rabbits, howling, rummaging through things. And then, of course, they start lurking along the side of the ring as I'm riding. And Fugo was just an absolute champion about ignoring literally all of it, including just the random howling and shuffling around going on in the hay barn while I was riding. So that makes him a very good boy in my book. I'm really happy with his, 99% of the time where his balance is at, his rhythm. He's a little slower now in his tempo, which allows him to have a bit more swing from behind. He feels excellent in his connection. I'm incorporating some sitting, of course, I talked about that, but a lot of figure eights and serpentines with him. Just working on getting him just super flexible and sponge-like in his rib cage from straight, left, right, back and forth. Just trying to get him to be so spongy and flexible in his bending and really just trying to get him to connect, not have the connection stop at the wither, just trying to get him to connect across his whole top line all the way to his tail, from his poll to his tail. And as I'm thinking about all of this and saying all these things, thinking about what he's been doing the last couple of days, I'm realizing that Fugo needs a day or two off. Because I actually have been, I think I sort of came back from Kentucky like, okay, and sort of was like, we got to get back to this. And I think I've worked him pretty hard the last couple of days. But yeah, when he's there, it is quite an exceptional feeling. This felt very good right here. Okay, so then just a little bit of canter work. We went to the right first. The right's actually is just a little bit harder way, not by a lot, but it is slightly more difficult for him. Sometimes I do walk canters, sometimes we do trot canters. I mean, a horse with his level of training and, post-track years, he can easily do both. I like doing the walk canters when I'm particularly working on getting the horse more on my seat. One thing that's funny about Fugo is he is a quiet horse, and if you take your leg off, he is going to break out of the canter, which I think is ideal for most riders. So he's certainly never going to go faster or further than you would like him to go, but he will take advantage of that a little bit. And so I've been getting a little stricter with him. He's been back in work now about keeping in the canter and not being allowed to just sort of fall out of it as soon as he thinks that it gets a little bit hard. Thought that was a really lovely left canter transition. And then he really gave me some nice work here. And then I was thinking here, like, okay, he feels great. This is really good. I just want him to hold this canter for a round or so and then let him be done. I'm sure his booty is burning from having, a week off and then doing this 3 days in a row. So there he fell out of the canter. So that is not what we want, of course. And if I was probably just riding on my own and not being videoed, I probably would have nipped that a bit quicker and just sent him really quick right back into the canter. Of course, when I'm riding on video, I try and ride a little bit more politely, so I want to reorganize him and then get a nice canter transition. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. That's just inevitably how I tend to be when I'm trying to make a video versus just schooling on my own in the pouring rain. But then he does do another beautiful left canter transition. He gives me some really nice work here. He very much feels on my seat and my leg and also quite tired. So we let him be done with that. I mean, the horse is going beautifully. And just his whole mindset is just very quiet and calm. And he just feels very happy. He feels happy in his work. He looks content and quiet in the barn. I mean, obviously he's standing very nicely on cross ties. He just seems very comfortable. And just, yeah, really like in a really good place. I actually think that I was talking to Billy today about the fact that, like, because Billy said something about how he just seems so settled. And I was thinking, yeah, like, I think that this is the best that I've had him. He just seems really content in his work, in his life. He's super happy. Turned out with 7. I've also had him turned out with Cowboy and like a mini herd for a bit. And who did I have him? When I was gone, he was out with Cowboy and who else was he out with? Hugo, Cowboy. I can't even remember. But anyway, I've had him with a bunch of different geldings. He gets along well with everyone. He's really well mannered and turnout. And he just seems like a really happy horse.